Broadcasting from Silicon Valley, California, this is Conversations with Jennylyn.
You're watching Conversations with Jennylyn, and as I continue my COVID-19 World Interview Series, today I've been fortunate to share this time with Mr. John Tschohl. Is that correct, John?
Oh, Tschohl.
Tschohl. And he is an expert on service strategy and so much more, which he will share with us. John, welcome to Conversations with Jennylyn.
Thank you, Jenny. Great to be here.
You came highly recommended. I was told you're a wonder man.
That's very generous.
And so I'm really anxious for you to share all the wonderful things you've been doing to make the world a better place.
Well, what I do is I write and speak on customer service. I work on a very simple concept. When you deliver an awesome customer experience, people give you a lot more money.
Right.
So if you want more money, you want more sales, you want more repeat business, then you got to deliver awesome customer service. Most companies provide poor customer service. Small companies are the worst offenders of customer service. They consistently provide lousy customer service.
Have you proven this? Smaller companies?
I've been saying this for 30, 40 years.
Okay. Why do you think that is so?
I think the owners are cavalier. Their attitude is, if you don't like it, screw you, go somewhere else. With the coronavirus, that's not a smart move. Secondly, they're not willing to train their staff. They're small. So they might have 5 employees or 10 employees, and the thought of training their people on customer service is like cutting off their left arm. You know, they're just as reluctant to do it. I just think that many of them are very poor. Some are very good, but I'd say the vast majority of small businesses suck at customer service.
And you clearly have been working in this industry or this field for many, many years.
I wrote the world's first customer service training program. It was released in January of 1980.
Wow.
That's over 40 years ago.
Congratulations.
It's been updated many times. And I don't think customer service is a lot better today than it was 40 years ago. In 1979, that was probably before you were born, Jenny, I saw
You're so kind.
organizations spending a lot of money trying to bring people to their place of business. And then they would issue baseball bats as the customer walked through the door, and they'd hit the customer on the head as hard as they could. And my concept is that's stupid. When the customer walks through the door, on the phone, in the internet, you love them. If you treat them like a king or a queen, they give you more business. That was the concept. And I look at companies like TD Ameritrade. They spend $100 million a year on advertising. $100 million a year. And when you walk through the door, they issue baseball bats and they hit you on the head as hard as they can. They don't want your business. They have the worst customer service. I had to close all my accounts. They spent $8 billion acquiring Scottrade. Scottrade was a customer service driven company, a trade brokerage company that was awesome. And TD Ameritrade was the worst that you could possibly get. And then I see all these ads on TV every day, all the time, okay? And they have terrible customer service. So this is what I've never been able to grasp. Why doesn't TD Ameritrade spend $1 million training its staff on customer service instead of $100 million on advertising? Word of mouth is 100 times more effective.
Great.
100 times more powerful, 100 times less expensive. So with this coronavirus, you have a chance to either really turn on the customer and be a very accommodating, or you can be very rule driven, very process driven, have poor customer service, and lose your customers.
Well, that's what I've been experiencing is poor customer service everywhere because almost every company I have called during this time, you get a recording saying, due to the coronavirus, we are not operating with regular staff, and you get the runaround, and it's like, come on, people, this doesn't affect every single business because it's a phone service a lot of the time.
So Jenny, with the coronavirus, we're not able to provide good service today. Go to hell, and we don't really need your business. We're really rich. We have so much money now. So goodbye, Jenny. That's stupid.
That's
Stupid. But that's what companies are doing.
Yes, it's frustrating. The Comcast, Verizon, I mean, every single one of them, even Amazon, I find I've had a lot of frustrations with.
So we're using the coronavirus as an excuse to provide poor customer service.
Yes.
But I think it's going to come back and bite you in the butt. In the long run, you're going to lose your customer base.
Well, of course, I'm done with a lot of them because this is not acceptable. It's frustrating. A lot of them, you actually need someone to help you. A good example was my internet went down, and I've been doing this. How can I do this without my internet? And I could not speak to a person. They sent me the equipment in the mail. It arrived and it's still sitting in a box because I'm not technical and I don't want to make a bad situation worse. So that is a great example of what you're saying. Have you ever like written to these companies and said, your problem is your customer service, I can help you? And if you have, what was the reaction you got?
When you approach a company that has bad customer service and you tell them that I have a solution, they just totally turn you off. So it's like telling a fat person that you need to lose weight. You just totally turn them off. It has to be something that happens in their own system.
Right.
So if I was to sell customer service training, which is our business, we have incredible customer service training programs that teach people the art of customer service. We change attitudes of behavior. We teach the skills of customer service, and we build employee morale and teamwork. The easiest one for us to sell is a person that already is really good at customer service. And the reason for that, Jenny, is they understand the value of good customer service.
Of course.
So somebody like yourself that's thin, it's probably easy to teach you ways to keep thin. So it's easier to work with a company that's interested in customer service, that believes in customer service, than a company that just says it's irrelevant. It's difficult to change the living and the dead.
Well, what I can't wrap my head around, your business is your customer. And if it's not working, wouldn't you do an evaluation and see that that's where your weak point? I had my own business, and within a year, I had 30 reviews, 30 5-star Yelp reviews, in which each one mentioned me.
Well, one of the problems in this country is for the last 5 years, companies have spent all their money doing customer satisfaction surveys.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you go to any place of business, the most important thing is to do a survey. Now, they don't watch the survey, they don't read the survey, they don't do a damn thing with the survey, but it's really important to fill out a survey. And the survey usually doesn't focus on the issues that there's problems. And so I find the use of surveys is pretty irrelevant. It's ineffective. It's overkill. If you surveyed 1 out of every 10 customers, it'd be better than surveying every single customer. It's spend the money instead training your staff on customer service, changing attitudes. You got 3 seconds with the customer. They can read your body language. They can hear your tone of voice. They can tell whether you care or don't care. Okay.
Exactly.
And you could go to any school in the United States for the rest of your life. You could go to Harvard. Nobody's going to teach anybody the skills of customer service. So if you are an employer and you want to hire customer service trained people, it's your responsibility to do the training because there's no educational system in the US that's going to do that for you. In addition to that, there are very few employees that have ever been trained in customer service. So how are people going to learn about really good customer service unless somebody consistently trains them? And then the other thing is that we train people once every 10 or 20 years. And we know that if we gave a guy 8 hours of training on customer service, it will change his life. And he will be perfect for the rest of his life. I think if you want to develop high-performing, customer-driven people, you got to have something new, fresh, virtually every 4 months, something short interventions, constantly keeping in front of them. So if you want to be a marathon runner, you got to keep running.
Right.
Well, if you're going to be providing great customer service, you got to constantly train your staff, because nobody cares that in the year 2019 you provided good customer service. They want to know, what are you going to do in June of 2020?
That is so hard for me to wrap my head around, because I think for me, serving others is innate. I get joy from helping people. I think some people absolutely need training because they're not cut out to serve anybody but themselves. And if you're hiring them into a customer service role, you have to train them, because the first thing I pick up when I deal with anyone is if they're happy they're serving me, or if they're just like a robot doing this because they're getting paid. They don't even take the time to listen to your needs. So I 100% agree with you. Customer service is very necessary, and almost every day I see it. Have you found over the years in doing what you do, more people reaching out for customer service care, or the opposite? I mean, help. Have you found over the years companies reaching out to establishments like yours, where you train people? Do you find more of this or less of this happening?
Less. In the United States, most CEOs, most owners of companies believe that they provide awesome customer service. If we were to interview every CEO in the United States and you said, how would you rate your customer service on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the best? Probably 90% of all CEOs in this country would say we're at least a 9 or a 10.
Have you asked them what are you basing this on? Have you ever asked them what they're basing that number on?
Oh, they do these, remember, they do these customer satisfaction scores, which are very fictitious. They slant them and change them to what they want to cover. But they're living in a dreamland. And so I believe that 90% of all the people in the United States would say that customer service sucks. I also believe that 90% of all CEOs believe they provide wonderful customer service. So you got a problem with the customer thinks service is poor, and the owner, the CEO, believes that they provide great customer service. We have this dichotomy, and the result is bad customer service.
What about when a company has horrible policies but nice people working for them? Because I've had this experience where the customer service provider is trying their best to help you, but their company has some really bad policies that they have to follow.
There's about 6 steps that you got to do to provide great customer service. Number 1 is you got to understand its strategy. This is a strategic focus. Number 2 is what you're talking about. You got to provide policies, procedures, and systems that make it easy for people to do business with you. Jeff Bezos from Amazon said, if you want more of something, reduce the friction. If you want less of something, increase the friction. Well, most companies increase the friction, which means they don't want much business. So you could have the nicest people in the world, but you could have really stupid policies and rules and procedures that piss off the customer, and they don't return. The third thing you got to do is you got to have empowerment. People have to be able to make, Jenny, fast, empowered decisions on the spot in favor of the customer. If the customer is happy, you're in good shape. If the customer is unhappy, you're dead. The fourth thing you got to do is you have to have speed. Whatever is happening today, people have been conditioned by Amazon where they want it now. The old days where you could wait 2 days, that doesn't work anymore. People want it now, okay? And the mindset of employees is slow, number one. And number two, companies have policies and procedures in place designed to decrease speed. The next thing is that you got to train everybody on customer service. You got to teach the skills and the art of customer service. You'll never be a service leader unless your staff in seconds is awesome at customer service. And good customer service doesn't get you into the game. You got to provide awesome, incredible, exceptional, extraordinary customer service every day with every customer. And the next item is that you got to have service recovery. When you screw up, what can you do to keep the customer? What product or services do you have that have high value, low cost that you can give away when you make a mistake and mess up? And those are some of the steps that I talk about that are critical if you're going to really provide a higher level of customer service.
There are some companies that have no competition. And so they feel like, take it or leave it. And I don't want to name the company, but I have a burning frustration with a particular company.
Just name it, Jen.
Name it?
Name it.
Comcast. They drive me crazy. And not just me, but many of my friends. And we are stuck with them because they're the only internet provider where I live. And so you feel like your hands are tied. When you call them, they're like, well, sorry, ma'am, these are the rules and there's nothing we can do about it.
So the problem with Comcast is that they've never trained their people in customer service. There's no empowerment. They have crazy rules and policies and procedures.
They do.
They're a monopoly. And when you're a monopoly, the attitude is screw you. Well, here's the problem with them. When employees know you're a monopoly, they share that attitude with the customers. And right now with COVID-19, there are some companies coming out of this that think they're a monopoly. You are so lucky our restaurant is open today.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what, there's a lot of restaurants. And if you provide stupid policies and rules and you act like a king, you may lose your customers. So you got to be far more conducive to your customers. You got to let the customers do what they want. And I just think coming out of this coronavirus, I see customer service going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
It is getting worse than ever before. Mm-hmm. And companies need the revenue today more than they needed in 6 months. And they're not going to get it. And they're not going to get the repeat business once other companies open up.
Now, that's something I was thinking about the other day. Everyone is complaining about the economy. They're so concerned about the economy that they're willing to take the risk of a resurgence by demanding that things open up sooner. And if you're so concerned with the economy, why are the companies in operation now? Why have they all gone down the drain in terms of customer service? I'm completely confused.
I think it goes back to the arrogance that, we start to think like we're a monopoly. Whenever you think you're a monopoly, you're screwed. And when you act like a monopoly, you're really screwed. So I have a new book coming out later this summer or fall called Relentless. And there are very few firms that are relentless. They focus on this for 6 months, for a couple of years, and then they're done. Well, if you're going to focus on customer service, it has to be a lifetime commitment. It has to be a cultural change. You got to be good at it every day, every month, regardless if you got a coronavirus or not.
Well, since this is your expertise and you're clearly very good at it, what's the name of your first book?
My very first book I wrote for bookstores was called Achieving Excellence Through Customer Service. That's this book right here.
And how many more have you written since then?
I have 6 other books out, and this is now in its 13th edition.
Wow.
And I updated it for the Russian version. It's in its 14th edition in Russia. And And then I have another book called Empowerment, A Way of Life. How do we make fast, empowered decisions in favor of the customer? I have another book called Cashing In, how to love your job, get a promotion, move up. I have another book called Moving Up, How Do I Move Up? See, I think it's very easy to make more money, really easy. So all you got to do is be better than anybody else in the company. You got to be more highly motivated. You got to take better care of the customer. And then I have another book called Loyal for Life on service recovery. When you screw up, how do you save yourself? How do you take that customer and keep them? And then I have another book called The Customer's Boss. How do I demand that I get good customer service? One of the reasons that companies like Comcast and many of the other companies provide poor customer service is most people don't complain.
I think I complain enough for the country.
No, you got to have thousands and thousands of people to complain. Right now, very few people complain. A company like Comcast with millions of people think that they're wonderful. I only got one stupid woman out in the Silicon Valley that complained. Who cares, you know? You got to have thousands of people. That's and for Comcast, you know, if they had 100,000 complaints, then they'd have more anxiety. But right now, if they get 20 or 50 complaints a month or 100 complaints a month, it's irrelevant. They got millions of customers. Most people don't complain.
So no incentive to improve and change their attitude toward their service, none.
So we need, as a consumer, we need to demand good customer service, whether it be for us as a consumer or for our business, we need to demand great customer service. I give firms that do great customer service, I give them a lot more money. I spend more money with them. Go ahead.
After you've trained their staff, have they been able to see a significant change in revenue and just the feedback they get from people because of your training?
You can see up to a 30% increase in sales when you're
providing
service.
Are you under marketing yourself? People should be breaking down your door to come and help them.
I agree.
Vast
majority of our business, Jenny, is international. We're everywhere in the world.
Okay.
In different languages. And the entire world is shut down. It's not just the United States.
Right. So, this is the one thing we're all experiencing simultaneously, almost. So tell me how you see COVID-19, your forecast for the future, based on your experience. How do you see it affecting the world?
Well, it's going to be probably July before most countries open up. And then I think it will be a fast pickup in terms of growth. I think there's this huge pent-up demand. So, and I'm talking about on a global basis. I think there will be political pressure in the United States with states that are opening up, and all of a sudden they're growing their economies versus those governors that want to keep the economy closed down. I think there will be more political pressure to move them up. In this country, there's probably 25% of the people that believe everything you read about COVID-19 and that they know the world is going to end and they're going to die and they got to stay holed up in their apartment. There's probably 25% of the people that think it's a bunch of baloney and BS. And then there's the rest of the people and that could be moved in any direction. But people are becoming very restless. They want to get out. They want to start doing stuff. The 15-day, 30-day lockdown has not been delivered on. It's now 60 days, 75 days. And, you know, I think we need to get the economy opened up. The important thing, if you're a business, you need to provide really superior customer service right now. And I just think that it's going downhill. And so companies are going to get a double whammy because they're going to open up and they're going to lose their customers because people are going to remember, just like, you know, the bad customer experience, and they're going to go somewhere else. Yeah. I'll give you one example. I needed one of my cars that I haven't driven for 8 months and the remote key didn't work. I had AAA that came out, they jumped the car because my jumper wouldn't work. And it turned out the battery in the key wasn't, it was dead. And they showed me how to put it up the ignition to get it to start. I called Batteries Plus, which is a small franchise company where they sell batteries. And that's where I've always gone to replace batteries. I called them at 7:45 in the morning. They didn't return the call. I wanted to know if they're open. Well, at 10:15, I went out to start the car because I had to go deliver this thing that I'd taken the car out for. Car wouldn't start, and obviously the battery was dead, and I couldn't figure out how AAA got it to work, but I couldn't. And so I called the company, Batteries Plus, and I said, how come you don't return calls? And they said, oh, we've been really, really busy. So I went into the store, drove over there, borrowed somebody's car. And first thing I said is, how come you don't return your phone call? Oh, we've been really, really busy. Now I'm the only one in the store.
Did the phone ring while you were in the store?
No. And then another employee came and I said, how come you don't
answer your phone?
Return call? Oh, we've been really busy. And then I just arrived here. You know, we got other things to do. And so they charged $12 for this little battery. And then that night I talked to my wife and she said, why didn't you go to the little hardware store next to our home? They do it for a fraction of the price. So I went in there a couple of days ago because I had another key for the same car that wasn't working. They charged me $4.19.
I would have taken the other battery back just on principle.
I never thought of that one. That would be a really...
there you go, a tip from Jenny.
That's not a bad idea. But the point is, and I told this little True Value hardware store, because they really are great people. I said, you should put a sign up that says you don't need to go to Batteries Plus. We'll take care of all your batteries.
Good idea.
Install the battery. So it was like 67% less money with 10 times better customer service. And so I'm thinking Batteries Plus, the store's probably been only open a couple days and they got lazy employees that lie. You know, I don't understand it. See, I got into this business, as I said, because I saw a company spending a fortune in marketing, trying to bring people to their place of business. And just like this Batteries Plus store, they hit you on the head with a baseball bat as you walk in the door to make sure you don't come back. Well, I would never, if I need a battery again, the first thing I'm going to go to is this little True Value hardware store, which is on my way to the office and home. I go by it every day. And the people are wonderful.
Now I get what you were saying about the small businesses. And this is why you see small businesses struggling.
And they're not willing to train their staff. They don't understand the customer experience. They don't, you know, and it's a problem. Many of them are not going to survive because of poor customer service.
I get that. I get that. I can see how. John, how do you feel about COVID-19? You were saying about the percentages who think it's being exaggerated, who are not taking it seriously, then they're the ones who think it's a conspiracy. What does John think?
I think it's a little more serious than the flu. I think you've destroyed the economy. I think it's overkill. I'm 72 years old. I'm not worried about it. I don't wear a face mask unless a business requires me to wear a face mask. And I'm in good health. In Minnesota, 82% of the deaths are in nursing homes. The average life expectancy for a person in a nursing home is 834 days. So for many of the people, it reduces their lifespan by a year, but these are typically people that are in very poor health. They're obese. They've never, you know, they smoke. They've never taken good care of themselves. And so COVID-19, if you're in bad health, is bad. And I think you should stay home. I don't think you need to go out. But I think a lot of young people should go out. And I see it happening all the time.
But they can be asymptomatic, but they can spread it to older people that may live in their homes. So I've been doing this series now for a while, and I think I've covered at least 30 countries to date, and I have many more lined up to do interviews. And the one thing I hear from every single doctor that I have interviewed, and the majority of them are physicians treating corona patients, when I ask them this question, is it being overrated? Is it a conspiracy? The one answer I've gotten from them all is tell the people questioning to come to work with us. And it is true that a lot of older people are the ones that are dying, but they've had quite a large number of younger people dying as well in some
Let's
countries.
just take California where you live, and they've closed the whole state down. But you have pockets of California where, you know, you got beaches that people can go to. California is a very large state. The United States is huge. You don't close the whole country down. You go to where there's a serious problem. I have a hospital I just got as a customer on Friday. They're in Colorado, and they have only 7 cases of coronavirus in their county. And the hospital, you know, has had huge financial problems because everybody's afraid of going to the hospital. In Minnesota, they have 10,500 hospital beds. There's 500 people or 400 people in hospital beds with coronavirus. They've got everybody scared about going to the hospital. So doctors are being laid off, nurses are being laid off. If you are in a hospital and you got a coronavirus, it's a very serious issue. No problem, no question about it. In those situations, we need to be more careful. But there are many other pockets in the United States that should be open, and let people, if they want to stay at home, please stay at home. Never force somebody to go out. But if you want to go to the health club, you want to get your nails done, you want to get a haircut, let people do that.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking like this. I can't get anything done.
Oh, you look beautiful.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. What have you learned about John from this experience?
Well, I'm very resilient. So while my revenue dropped dramatically, I work harder every day because now I give like the Zoom call, it's free. I'm doing lots and lots of free stuff to keep my name out. I'm leveraging the time I have on a global basis. I have a free web post that I've been putting up every day for the last 2 months. The end of May will be the last one I do. I just sent you a copy of it. You can put it on for your viewers.
Okay.
But I just do lots of free stuff, and I work really hard. Really, I don't get paid much anymore, you know, because there's not a lot of revenue coming in. But I think that you have to survive and you have to work. And the harder you work, the better you'll do. And so this is not a time to hibernate or to feel sorry for yourself. This is the time to put full pressure forward and to work really hard and to do everything you can to take care of customers, to love the customer. What I have been encouraging people to do with the COVID-19 crisis, if you have a company, is what products or services do you have that you can give away free, that have high value, low cost to you? This is a chance to build your brand and to do more than is expected. That's what customer service is all about. So as we move out of this coronavirus and we open up our different markets, you need to be much more flexible. You need to eliminate some of these crazy rules and policies you got. So, you know, our businesses, we think, man, we're going to have all these rigid things. You want to come into my business, here's what you got to do. My wife is older than myself, and if she is required to wear a face mask, she will not go to the store anymore, whatever that business is. She has asthma, so when she puts on a face mask, she can't breathe.
All right. I have trouble breathing and I don't have asthma.
So we got to be very careful that we think it's cool for a lot of these rules and policies, but you have millions and millions of customers out there and they're all different. And so you got to figure out how to how to take care of all of your customers and not just a certain number of your customers.
Have to be adaptable, and you have to understand and care enough to understand the people that you're helping sometimes, I think.
I'll give you another example of poor customer service. Trader Joe's, which I think is headquartered in California, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And they have about 700-800 stores. I bought my wife an orchid for our wedding anniversary, and it didn't do very well. And then I tried over Mother's Day to return it to Trader Joe's, and there were 50 people in line because they only allowed a few people into the store at a time. Well, I'm not going to wait in line with 50 people ahead of me. Nothing's going to get me to wait in line, nothing, okay? So I went back the following weekend with the orchid, and it was getting in worse shape. And I went to the cashier and I said, I need to return this, it's defective. She went to get a manager because most employees are not empowered.
Mm-hmm.
The manager came and he did some checking. And then he came back and said, we're not going to give you a refund because we didn't sell the orchid and you don't have a receipt. So I said, well, screw you. And he says, don't swear at me. I said, well, I'm never going to come back. I will never go back to a Trader Joe's. Now, the orchid I paid $20 for. They did sell it, and I did buy it at the Trader Joe's. The lesson, which is shocking to me, that you have to keep your receipt if you buy anything at Trader Joe's if there's a problem. Most people don't keep a receipt. Now, for $20, and there's probably the real cost of the orchid might have been $10, okay? But for $20, they lost a customer. This is the manager. I said to the guy, I said, let me talk to the manager of the store. He says, I'm the manager. And so if the manager's got this kind of an attitude, and remember, there's these lines. You only let a few people into the store at a time. We're kind of arrogant. You know, you ought to be really lucky. We're going to let you come into Trader Joe's. Yeah. Well, don't worry about it because I'm not coming back.
Poor, I agree with you. And there's a lot of that in these stores. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. You were amazing.
Thank you, Jenny.
No, thank you. Thank you. You taught me a lot. And I know that the people watching this are going to learn a lot. Hopefully, you'll get some calls. Hopefully, because of this interview,
very good.
You will get calls, right? Thank you so much, John.
My phone number. You want to give them a phone number, Jenny?
Go ahead. You can leave it.
It's 800-548-0538.
John, thank you so very much for taking this time out to share your expertise with us. There is a need for you in this country.
Very good.
Almost
Thank
every
you,
establishment that I do business in, I found the customer service crappy.
And make sure that you, when you promote this to the viewers, make sure you spell my name. And I have a website, customer-service.com, and also johnschohl.com and servicequalityinstitute.com.
We always put up a name tag, so they will see your name.
Very good.
John, thank you so much, and thank you for watching Conversations with Jennylyn, where a conversation is all you need to be inspired like John. And if you have a business, call John. Thank you much, and I'll see you next time.